Right, so not my usual kind of videos because they're all about four wheels. Currently there are five cars. Where are we? One, two, three, four and five. Good parking skills there, look. There's currently five cars in the driveway and I talk about fixing them and playing with them, but little did you know, maybe you did, maybe you spotted it, in the garage there is a motorbike. So I'm going to give you now just a quick sort of owner's view, owner's review almost, if you like, of this bike, because I don't ride it. I've got all these other cars here. The XFR in particular, I love driving that thing. And if you ask me, would you rather the XFR or the motorbike? Well, it'd be the XFR. So cash is being tied up a little bit in it, and I'm moving soon, and there's going to be a temporary shortage or temporary loss of a garage. So I don't really want to leave it out. I don't want to leave it outside, that's for sure. I can store it. I've been offered somewhere to store it, so it's not, I desperately have to sell it, but for the miles I've done this year, I think it's time to go. So let it turn around and I'll show you what it is. So here you go. It's a 2005 Yamaha R1. There are not many things really to say about it. There's so much been written in the press and so much about these. I think it's been around the world on this one. There is an example of a guy that took one around the world on it. I think broke a record. There's known examples. I think 44 Teeth took one, and we're really, really impressed. They took a really leggy, knackered old one out. That happened. There's been many, many reviews about these. It was the first bike to jack out of the way. It was the first bike to do a 1-to-1 power to weight ratio, so 172 horsepower and 172 kilos of dry weight. 1 litre engine, 4 cylinders, inline 4. It's a jack bike, so you get the key, put it in, it starts every time. You're not really, I'm assuming you're not going to be wanting to watch this for the all the stats you can get off the newspapers and the internet, MCN, all that sort of stuff. You want to know what I think of it? Well, it's absolutely amazing. First thing I love about it is the looks. I mean, I don't know who did this. It looks like the wheels were black originally from the factory. Someone sprayed them gold. So that was done before I did it. Someone's added the HEL lines, a little bit of carbon fibre underneath, and the devil cans on the back. It's got different grips, and I think different screen. I don't know if that's even a double bubble, maybe, but yeah, it's got a different screen on it. And I think that's around it. So there's not a lot of modifications from standard. It's got crash protectors on the forks, on the frame, and on the main frame, and then the rear swing arm. So it's got a few bits on it. It's not a minter, but it's in decent shape. You can tell it hasn't been left outside, like with the nuts and bolts. It hasn't been left outside, but there are little things like there's little bits of marks. But you know, made in 2005. It's got 28,000 miles on the clock, so it's not really got that much mileage on it for a bike which was made in 2005, not 2015, 2005. So, right, what do I love about it? Looks. I loved this because it had the twin underseat exhausts. I also went and bought an FZ6 many years ago, and because it had the twin underseat exhausts, and yeah, it just didn't do it for me. It was no good. It hurt my head. It sounds epic. It sounds really, really good. Yeah, there's another little scuff on there. But yeah, looks-wise, it's one of the best-looking bikes, I think, over many, many years. It doesn't really get much better than that from a looks perspective. It's just nice. Everywhere you go, it gets a comment. People look at it and like it. It's a lovely, lovely bike. Number two thing about this, it's brutal. It is so, so, so fast. I mean, there are probably more capable machines nowadays, and there's all sorts of stuff going on. This bike's got no traction control, no ABS, there's nothing. It's just you and the bike, that's it. It rides like an absolute monster. You know, the 0 to 60 time is probably somewhere sub 3 seconds. So in terms of, obviously that is rapid. You're talking about just under 5 seconds, 0 to 60 in that. But on this one, it's even faster again. So from a performance perspective, it's absolutely brutal. There may be more beautiful things out there, but I haven't ridden them. So yeah, I think it's an absolute monster. The third thing I like about it, and probably the final thing about it, is just the way it rides. So before this, my riding experience, I'm not a track day person. I've never been on a track on a motorbike. I've been on a track a few times in a car, never on a bike. Probably should have done. I used to do a lot of mileage to and from London every day, so it's like up and down the motorways and stuff, and thrashing things around. So straight line, gunning it, not so much of a corners person, but this taught me to be a bit braver in corners. I was on 600cc super sport bikes for a while before I went through a couple of other guises. I went on a GSXR 750, which was an auction purchase and was crap. I bought a like I said, the FZ6 to try and be a bit more sensible and have a sensible bike. That lasted all 2 minutes because it was just too boring. And then I went to 749 Ducati, which was beautiful. It looks amazing. You get on it and you ride it, and everywhere you go, you're like the king of the car park. Everyone wants to come over. Oh, I love it, mate. I love it, mate. Which is great. But every time you go to it, you open the garage door and you put the key in, you're like, oh shit, is it going to start? Is it going to start? Is it going to work today or not? Anyway, I'm just trying to find out what my favourite angle is. I think it's probably a side profile a little bit, which is a bit disappointing because Disco Dave's in the way. Right, so when it comes to riding this, the 1 litre though, I remember this. I rode one. My sister's ex-husband had one of these back in sort of near when they were new, probably about 3 years old at the time. And I had got off of a K2 GSXR 600. I got onto this and thought, I couldn't believe how similar it felt to ride to the 600. It sort of handled in a very, very similar way, but when I opened the throttle, wowzers, it was just an absolute rocket ship. So from that day on, I thought, I need one. I want to have one of these. So 2019, I bought this, and yeah, it still rides the same way as I remembered it back then. It's very easy to ride, very tactile. You can pootle around. I mean, just went down. The fuel lights came on, so I just nipped down to Tesco. It's only like half a mile away. Nipped down to Tesco, put like sort of 10 litres of fuel in it, and you can just pootle around. It wasn't too bad. Obviously, it will want a good thrashing, and it does have one every so often, all within the safety limits, of course. But yeah, it will just pootle around, cruise around, and then when you want to, you can open it up and go absolutely lightning quick. So, things to look out for. I mean, I haven't had any issues with this bike. Touch wood. I don't even think I've got any wood. Let's find some. Touch wood. I've not had any issues. It is going to be up for sale soon, so hopefully that will continue. But there are things that are known on these that can go wrong. You can get a rattly gearbox, which I think is this stator down here, which has not caused me any problem. The swing arms do move slightly from side to side, which is meant to be a sort of a known factory thing. Nothing to worry about. The brake lines, I think, are a bit susceptible, which is why the previous owner must have put on, or one of the previous owners must have put on the HEL lines. And then other than that, it's just your usual maintenance. Yeah, servicing wise, I think I did an oil change and a coolant change last summer. But it's been relatively pain-free, easy to ride around on, and not costing me a lot of money. So it doesn't depreciate a lot. I'm advertising it for very close to what I paid for it back in 2019. So I think they will appreciate in time. Whether that'll happen now or not, I don't know. But there you go. Owner's review. What do I think to the 2005 5VY Yamaha R1? Well, I love it. It's an absolute rocket ship. If you're in the market for a bike which is reasonable to buy, and yeah, it's got all the performance in the world, you can't really go far wrong with it. So yeah, knock yourselves out. If you want to go and buy one, do it while they're still around, while they're still cheap prices. Go and get one. I can't believe it. So I've just done this walk around and showed you the bike and show you what I thought of it, and what did I not do? Didn't even start it. So I've just done a little start for a sale video, and yeah, my neighbours will be really keen for me to keep playing with it and starting it, I'm sure. Right, here we go. I'm not doing any more than that. It's a beast.